On the previous episode,
who can survive longer, me or my depression? Try not to make my decisions based on my past trauma.
We're not getting a house because of you.
Got my titties coming out the
Okay,
bottom.
titties.
Cool.
This, I will let y'all know that this is a wellness podcast, but we are accepting of titties.
Okay, what about sex talk?
Of course. Healing comes in many forms.
That's true. That is true.
So how's your mental health, Reed?
Oh, my mental health. It's kind of been through the ringer. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, but currently right now it feels really good. I have a real lack of anxiety, which is quite rare for me.
Nice.
It's quite nice. I've just gone through a bit of a roller coaster breakup, and the end of last year was really not myself. So actually in the beginning of this year, going through breakup and not feeling myself. So coming out to LA and being with Florence has honestly been so good for my head. Like I feel so present. My OCD is at a minimum. I feel really, really good. I just feel here and now rather than constantly like in the past or freaking out about the future. Yeah. So it feels really good. I kind of don't want to go home.
don't go. Stay here with me.
The travel agency needs to get back to me, and then I'll change my flight. Like,
just come live here.
We do like you here.
Or doing the house swap. That would be such a good idea.
Yeah, living in two places. That's the dream.
That would be the dream. Yeah.
I tried that. Didn't work out.
No? Okay.
Of course. You did New York, LA.
Yeah, New York, LA is just not a... it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Maybe it sounds really good in the theory, but in reality, it's just
honestly,
like,
I think
where's my home?
Yeah, I think it's good when you have either you have to be single or like really partnered, right? I feel like to make it happen really comfortably, and also financially be able to be like, I'm gonna just hop back and forth.
Financially, and also the packing and unpacking is the worst.
My God.
And being somewhere and being like, I left that thing in my other place. Like, I really want that thing. That would just drive me insane.
Yeah.
Not
Packing's
cool.
my nemesis at the moment.
Yeah, fuck that.
I want to make enough money to be able to go somewhere and be like, I'll just buy clothes when I get there.
Yeah, or buy two of everything. Yeah, and just have like both there at the same time.
Exactly.
The dream.
The dream. Let's manifest that. How's your mental health, Florence?
It's not been so great recently, actually. I've been like feeling a lot more anxiety recently than I have maybe ever in my life, and I feel like that's probably part and parcel with moving to another country. I've never done anything like this before. This is the furthest away I've been from like friends and family, and because like even at home, like I grew up in Brighton, which is an hour away from London, so when I moved to London for the last 9 years, at least I was just like an hour away from my mum.
Yeah.
But now I'm like an 11-hour flight away. Another, so there's been a lot to process. I feel like I've been going through a bit of a rebirth with like just life in general, like peeling away everything that I thought I was supposed to do and like really figuring out like who I am.
Yeah.
And it's been a very vulnerable place to be in.
It is, because I can understand, because I just moved to LA about 7 to 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And this is the farthest, not as far as you, but it's the farthest I've ever been in traveling. And one thing I realized was that I had a comfort with having my friends in proximity.
Yeah.
And that felt amazing. So it's not necessarily like hanging out with your friends every day, because that was never like really my thing. It was just having the ability to spend time with somebody that's close to me. So when I come here, and like the person that's most closest to me is my partner, but that's it. It can feel very lonely. And honestly, the only way to feel better about not having your friends close is to make more friends.
To make new ones.
And that's the craziest part, because I was just like, how can I make my friends be incorporated in like my life now, because I need my friends. These are my friends for like 10 plus, 8 plus years or whatever. Yeah. And the only remedy is more friends.
It takes a while though to get to that level with new friends.
Right.
And that's what you that's the hard bit, I guess, because you're like, I really like everyone that I've met, but you don't feel as safe and secure as everyone at home.
Right.
Everyone talks about like dating and meeting new sexual partners,
no.
but nobody teaches you how to make a platonic friend.
As
Yes.
an adult.
As
at
an
that.
adult, that's really hard.
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting in finding the balance between friendship, and I feel like as adults we are aware of, obviously more than children, of transitional friendships and relationships like that. So I feel like adults are on guard, whereas kids are just like, oh, we'll just be friends. And however it happens, which I honestly feel like making a friend as a kid is already transactional, because like, are you fun, are you cool, in whatever sense a kid would think of it, and then breeds a relationship out of that, right? So I would say one of the people that I've felt comfortable and happy to be a friend out here is Florence.
Yeah.
Because first time we were supposed to hang out, we was supposed to like go hiking, and it was like the hiking trail was closed, so it was raining. And then another time we went hiking, it was just like great. We talked about so much. Actually, one of the things that we spoke about that was like really so dope. You were telling me how a way your friend manifested was through like setting up the decor in her house, the feng shui.
Like creating space for someone else to come into your life by living by yourself, but then always like having things out as if there was someone else there, like, you know, having two bedside tables instead of one bedside table.
Oh, cool.
Or like having a double bed instead of like a single bed. Like things like that. So there's just like space for someone to enter into your life.
That's nice.
It was really good. So we're on this hike, we're talking about a bunch of stuff, and it's like, wow, you put me on to something that like I probably didn't think about. And I'm a manifesting like monster. Like 3-3-3s, 2-2s, 11-11. Any chance I get to manifest something in my life is like I'm taking it.
3-3-3 and like, well, 3s and 2s have been like everywhere in my life recently.
Oh, nice.
And I don't really like know. A really good 3-3-3 came up when I was just about to move into this place in Glendale, and I looked up, like, what does this mean? Because I've been seeing 3s fucking everywhere. And it was about, like, making the right choice, right? Making a decision. And I was like, okay, this money was to make this choice. Like, it was money that I, like, borrowed off my mum. And, like, I think in hindsight, I was like, wow, like, that money coming in that exact amount, because it was a conversion from dollars to pounds. So I didn't know that it was that amount when I asked for it. Nice. And it really was like, actually, like, don't use this money for that. Like, this means something. Yeah.
So for me, they're angelic numbers, and they're like, that's the time where you're supposed to manifest something, right? And so I never was really into it until like Mila, my girlfriend, put me on. And whenever like 11-11, like multiple numbers come up at a certain time, she will stop and like pray. Like no matter where she is, what she's doing, whoever she's talking to, we will stop and start to manifest, right? However that looks. So it's kind of like cosmic timing, right? So it's at this specific time, this is the right time to ask for something, ask the universe for something, like angelic numbers. And depending on how you see religion or spirituality, I view it as like the universe. So I'm thinking of it as angelic numbers, cosmic numbers, feeling the energy, alignment with the universe and your chakras, whatever the case may be. This is at the time where it's like most powerful for whatever you're asking for. So this is where you're supposed to be direct. This is where all the numbers are aligning. That means for this 1 minute, the universe and cosmos are aligned, and use this powerful time and energy to ask for something, because this is when the universe is listening the most at this specific time. So that's why I like saying what you want at the times of seeing those numbers, and also when even putting an intention on what you want. So it's like you see these numbers. I'm going for finance right now. That's been my thing.
I need to do that too.
Yeah, I see 222. It's like, oh, money, please, money. But it's been working because now I have different avenues of like gaining finance. Right. So when you start feeling, when you see it, and then things start happening like for you, it's just like, I don't know if the cosmos is listening, but obviously something's happened, so I might as well keep going. So that's why like angelic numbers and the intention behind like the feng shui is so important. Yeah. Because these are all manifestation tools. And just finding out different ways to like ask for something from the universe is beautiful.
Yeah.
And if I can do that by incorporating something that is like a hobby or something I like your friend who might be into decor and things like that, it's just like, oh, I can manifest what I want so easily. And then when it comes, then you stay in your space and your sovereignty and manifest. And
it's crazy, and people don't believe in this shit, but like, I literally had this moment when I was living in a shared house in London, and I was like, I need to move out. And I was walking down the road with my ex, and I was like thinking about where I wanted to live, and I was like, I just want to live like in like a modern apartment with a balcony. And I was like, looked up, and there was this building there and a building there, and I was like that one or that one. And I got home, went on to our version of Zillow, which was like Rightmove or something. Yeah. And the top thing in the search engine was one of the buildings that I pointed at. And I moved in there the next week.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's it.
Crazy.
Nice.
So using that throat chakra, that energy, and then like you're pointing to, telling the universe. You see how direct, when you're so direct about what you want. But then you got to be careful too, right? Because then people would say like, they would manifest a partner, and they'll be like, I want a partner that, you know, is tall. And that's all you fucking got. Now you got a tall asshole in your life. So it's like you gotta be really just like specific on how you curate what you want.
Wanted to ask how your headspace is doing, because you asked both of us.
I'm so happy you asked. Honestly, if anybody never asked, I just ask myself anyway. But it's going great. Honestly, it's going great because if I know I continue with how I'm going, it's going to continue to go great, right? So just knowing that this greatness comes with maintenance. Like, it feels really good. And it comes with responsibility. So people want to be at, like, a certain level, but they're not ready for the challenges and the work that comes with that. And a lot of things that I'll be telling, well, more recently, I've been telling my co/therapist/coach is that I am perfect. I do feel that I'm perfect, but that perfect comes with the responsibility of maintaining perfection. Because if I'm telling people that I'm perfect and I want people to believe it, I now have to act perfect.
So that's a very good point.
Yeah, so if I'm coming to someone and they're like, and I'm saying like, oh, I'm perfect or whatever the case may be, it might sound like egotistical and stuff like that. But then when I explain to them, like, I'm willing to maintain this. I'm willing to maintain the identity of perfection in everybody else's eyes.
I was going to say, because it's more about like being perfect with your own standards, your own version of perfection, rather than everyone else's own version of perfection.
Exactly. So my version of perfection is that I'm perfectly myself. I know what I'm doing is what I want to do at the time, and sounds easy, but a lot of people aren't being themselves. And I think it sounds, no, let me not say easy. It sounds simple. And I've come to realize it's not as simple for everyone when they're in a space of where they feel like they might be judged by society or people around them.
So funny you say that, because when you were having that spiritual conversation, I was sitting here going, and I was like, don't say that like you just think it's, you know, amazing coincidence and I'm not a spiritual person. I was like, you know, respect. And I was just like, I felt like I wasn't being myself. I was just sitting here like, cool. I was like, where did my voice go?
I was going to look over to you and be like,
and what do you think?
I know that Reed doesn't believe in any of this shit.
Which is I'm okay with that. That is my perfect self. But I fear that me saying I don't believe in it is almost an insult to your beliefs.
No. The point of everyone is to feel how they feel, right? Without judgment. Like, that's the perfect part of you. It's like, you feel how you feel, you act on it how you want to. Right, the imperfection in my eyes, and this is all my opinion, right? And that's the great part about it. It's how I view the world and how I view perfection within myself, and I view it as being myself without being a detriment to the world. Yeah. And so as long as I maintain that, I'm perfect. And as long as I'm maintaining not being a detriment to the world, then nobody should have a problem with me being perfect. Because I'm willing to maintain the type of person that is good for the world, the type of person that is good for the people that surround me, right? I'm willing to take on that responsibility of saying, hey, Reed, every time you come around me, you're going to feel comfortable.
But I feel that word perfect. I feel perfect, except when my head's not in a right space. And then I do not feel perfect. Then I feel like there's this like other demon, you know, like
I don't view that as imperfection. I view that as human.
Yeah.
Right? I am perfect as a human. I can't.
Yeah.
These emotions are put in place by my body to protect me. Right? So if my body is feeling a certain way, there's something there that is trying to warn me or protect me or ward off. Right? So it's supposed to happen. Anger is supposed to happen. If somebody makes you feel the type of way to the point where you're supposed to be angry, that's your body telling you that if you feel this way and you don't like it, then maybe you should stay away from this kind of sensation because you're angry. It's uncomfortable, right? But if you also like being angry, you're going to put yourself in positions where you can be angry. So now you're being yourself, right? And now it's up to everybody around you to understand that you're an angry person and choose if they want to be around you also. Right?
Plus, anger's addictive, and
it's
stress.
addictive.
We've been talking about stress being addictive. Yeah.
And people are addicted to that stress and willing to stay in that space. I am willing to stay in a space of comfort.
Yeah.
And happiness. Enjoy.
Yes.
Right? And we all,
That's what
and
I'm
I've
striving for.
Right. And it sounds like, I'm willing to be happy, but it's not. I don't.
It's hard work to be in that space.
Yes,
it's exhausting.
All emotions are exhausting.
Yeah.
Any one emotion is exhausting. So I try to practice balance. If I get upset, I'm not gonna be like, no upset. I'm a happy person. I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna choose to be upset, or I'll choose to say like, hey, in this moment, I'm letting my body process anger or sadness. And just like I would say, hey, in this time, I'm happy. I've times where I sat with my therapist and I told him, like, I have no idea why I'm happy. But I sure do feel great. And this sounds we've all felt that we're just upset, we're just not in the mood, and we don't know why. It's natural. It happens. So I don't see it as imperfection. It's just natural order of our body. But taking autonomy over that and saying that I am upset and owning it is the perfect part. And admitting it, acknowledging, and saying that this is who I am. Currently an upset person, currently a happy person, currently a sad person, and it's okay because I'm experiencing all things that are of me, and I'm not shunning it to the side and like trying to be something I'm not.
Something came up with the perfect thing is that I've never thought of myself as perfect, and in a recent relationship, someone kept telling me that I was perfect, and I took that as like, oh my God, like suddenly there's so much pressure on me, and I'd be like, I'm not perfect, and I don't want you to see me that way because then I'll fuck up.
Yeah, it's like self-sabotage, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm definitely not perfect, like, prep yourself.
And it's not the perfect that's the problem. It's the fucking up that's the problem. And people just don't want to. People don't want to be the bad person in other people's eyes. But you're going to fuck up to everyone. And I've been telling people this, that no matter what you do, somebody's going to be upset.
Yeah.
So you might as well do what makes you happy. Because if you're sitting here and you're saying like, if you don't feel comfortable with the word perfect, that's perfectly fine. But avoiding being who you are because you're worried about how other people is going to perceive you, you're going to be perceived based on what you're not being also. So if you're being yourself or not being yourself, you're going to be perceived in a certain light. So you might as well do the easier route of that and be you. Would y'all like to do a chant?
Let's give it a go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see
Even I've never really done chanting.
So I just thought about this as a thing to just set an intention to the episode. Sometimes I would let the guests lead the chant, and one of the chants that I love and I remember was Ong, and that was the moment where I felt like a connection to like the universe, right? And the vibrations of it, like spiraling through my head, just felt like so good. And that's when I finally was like, oh, I can get into like learning chakra, right?
Yeah.
So that's why now I feel like this is a very important part of the podcast too. Just
don't know if I'm
send
going to be able to do
attention.
it with like my remnants of a cold, but we will try.
And I like the word
Yeah,
That's good.
right?
How
But
can
we're
you
not
say
gonna do because that was another episode. But we are gonna do perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So it's just like a deep breath, and we'll go perfect.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay.
All right. Perfect.
I was expecting that like a chant like multiple times. So I was like, oh, my perfect's finished and they're still going. Oh, that was it. It was just the one. Okay.
I was thinking about going for another 3. I know who we're gonna hold up. You want to do 2 more?
Yeah,
You
because
feel
I feel like the
more
oms, you do multiple
Yeah.
and you get into that headspace.
Sure.
And then you hear like the reverberation of voices
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
hitting the same notes.
Okay, we could do 2 more back to back. Ready? Perfect. Perfect. The chants are always so funny because I would just feel like, come on, somebody's got to be listening to this and laughing.
Right? Reed would
maybe
be, when she listens to it back, she'd
Maybe
be like,
I'll be like, skip. Maybe they're doing it with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, people have told me that they do the chants.
Yeah.
And so it made me feel
nice.
better about doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, love it.
I need to start doing them.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to have a perfect episode.
We are going to be have
Yeah.
exactly.
Damn.
See how you change your mindset on it now. It's like everything could be perfect at any time.
Yeah, I'm going to leave this feeling like a perfect human being.
Yes,
Boom.
exactly.
So before we get started, please can y'all and I'm letting y'all do this because I have found that this is my weak point in podcasting. And that's
We do the same
introducing-
thing.
Wait,
That's
weak points don't
introducing
happen in perfection, right?
I'm figuring that part out. I'm gonna get you on that. But if you please let my listeners know, who are y'all?
So I'm Florence,
And I'm Reed.
and we are the hosts of Fucks Given, soon to be probably just Come Curious, because that's what we have always been doing under the guise of our YouTube channel, which is a sex education, tips, advice. We talk about mental health, bodies.
We talk
All
about
the good
everything.
stuff.
We just have like the most open and honest podcast, probably like this one,
Yeah.
where it's like having a therapy
Yeah.
session. But our main focus is on sex and fucking and intimacy and all the juicy
Yeah.
bits. We met on a porn set.
We did.
Really?
So
Yeah, that's how we became friends.
Yeah, moved in together, started a YouTube channel, and ended up having a podcast. And we also have OnlyFans as
Yeah.
well, of
Yeah.
course.
Nice. Wait, what was happening on the porn set? Oh, sorry. If you want to finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I just wrote a book.
yay!
Woo, we got
Oh,
an
yes.
author here.
Right?
It's called This Book Will Make You Feel Something. So definitely go pre-order it.
Yeah. What's the
Pre
name of it?
This book will make you feel
Oh,
something.
yes.
And
You're
it's
telling me,
25 erotic stories and 25 masturbation advice and techniques and
Nice.
tips and all of that juicy stuff.
Okay, please leave us with the links or in the description and everything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Should we put our socials in that as well, or do that at the end?
we're gonna do that at the end. I'm gonna let you have all the time in the world. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
So wait, what happened on the porn set? What was happening? How did y'all meet?
Oh, we met on a really shitty,
Very dodgy.
porn set. Yeah,
Very dodgy, shady. This little,
shady as
it was
fuck,
literally
lies.
a basement in Marylebone with a mattress on the floor.
It was not a nice place to be, but you know, with every dark cloud, there is a silver lining.
Yeah.
And we
It's kinda
found each
crazy.
other
Yeah.
and ended up living together, and just all we did was talk about sex.
Yeah. We both separately, before we met, wanted to direct porn. I came from like this fine art moving image background, what I did for my degree, and I was like, I want to do feminist porn and like make things that are super cinematic and look like sex feels.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
super sensual. And then Reed came from a slightly different side of things.
Yeah. Well, I had like a television production background where
Yeah.
everything's like lit up, and then obviously having my obsession and love with nasty commercial porn, the stuff that you did find on Pornhub, and being in the porn industry and already doing that, like being every production role that you can think of. And that's the kind of porn. I wanted to make fetish porn, really. That was the thing. And then we both just were drawn to each other and ended up moving in together and doing YouTube. That was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
9 fucking years ago.
Congratulations on coming up to 10 years.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. 10-year
Crazy.
anniversary. Oh shit.
Wow. We're old.
We are, but like every cell is beautifully matured.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I would hate to be the age that I was. Like, I love me now and knowing
Same.
what I know now.
Yeah.
It's so worthy.
I feel younger now
Absolutely.
than I did then. Weirdly.
Yeah. Oh,
I am happy that you guys got into the space of podcasting because I feel like, from that janky experience, it feels like it's transformed into a space of much better sexual content, right?
Yeah.
And even people that would view porn or view podcasts or view sex in any type of ways, like, having these conversations are helpful, right? Helpful and healing to people to just hear point of views.
this is we've created educational, ethical porn films, and that was kind of almost like a trauma response from that shitty time. And we're like, fuck this. We do not want to make porn that's ever anywhere near like this. We're going to make porn that looks like this and have like the best set and keep it as a family and have everyone fairly paid and like respect their boundaries, And
it was educational too. It was
and it
literally
was
telling you
educational.
how to do things.
Yeah.
Because people go to porn to learn how to do stuff in sex.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do. Wrongfully so.
Oh my gosh, and that's why people need like better porn examples. And I was talking about this on y'all podcast, Come Curious, where putting out people go to porn and that's like their first time of seeing sex and learning that, oh, maybe this is how the action of sex goes. And so if they can see better examples of that, they can imitate that, because we're all vulnerable to information when we are younger.
Yeah.
Right? Wow, I feel like that was a very elegant way to say that. We are vulnerable to information when we're younger.
And I like that you said imitate, because that's exactly what we did with porn.
Yeah.
We grew up with porn, like, oh, how do you give a blowjob? How do you do this? And of course, porn
It's like,
was...
yeah, crazy.
It's like, I don't like
I'm
that.
not moaning.
That doesn't turn me
the
on.
moaning, like the way that we did it. The fact that we all moaned it with American accents.
American accents.
Even though we were supposed to be British.
Oh yeah, and of course it just sounds fucking weird. Like, oh my god, like it doesn't fucking sound like that. Yeah, and you're right. We need to kind of inspire people with porn and how porn should be seen and how porn should be. We're seeing it more and more these days, where it's like, just like talking about consent before a shoot, or getting a bottle of water, or actually being like, do you want to use a condom? No, I'm okay. Like, have you been STI checked? Having those conversations. But it just needs more of it.
I imagine. I wonder how it is for somebody to see like both sides of like that kind of porn before, where it was, and now people are making like more ethical porn and like seeing both sides. Like, oh shit, I wonder if like that switches the point of view, or just like even switches how people feel like, oh, I was fucked by a person that used to watch porn like this. I wonder how it is to be fucked by a person that now watches porn.
Yes. Oh my god, I would love to go back to my exes and fuck them and see what they've learned and how different the sex would be now. Because a lot of that sex I had when I was younger was pornographic. Was like oh, I'm gonna choke you and pull your hair and suck on this big dick and slap you around and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what I thought I wanted in the moment, and that's great when you actually want it, but not every time. And then forgetting all the female pleasure, and it was just copying all that shit that we saw online. And there's nothing wrong with that stuff either. You can do that, but only in a safe space.
I can think of a few good nights where that's going to come into play.
Exactly.
But it's an option of both, right?
And I think we're now mature enough to understand, like, about talking about it first, not just assuming that's what the other person wants.
That was the worst part of it all. I think that people learnt from porn, which was just like not having consent and not having the conversations about whether it was going to be enjoyable for that person. So like the pulling the hair or the choking or even the spanking.
It's not even from porn though.
Or even
it's
just
from
slamming
society.
your fucking cock like really hard into my pussy.
And it's like, that's okay sometimes.
Yeah, but
depends on the person.
Is this okay? Like, do you feel okay?
Yeah.
Like when people started asking, if I was okay during sex.
Oh my God, the
or like whether that
biggest
felt
turn on.
good.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. What's
Yeah,
happened?
if someone, so back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, where people would be like, oh my God, he asked me to, like, if I could kiss him, you know?
Whoa.
And it's like, when somebody says, can I kiss you now? That is the biggest turn on for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, he actually respects my boundaries.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a
So
turn on. And
hot.
yeah, checking in, even though it's like fucking hard, and you're like, yeah. Are you enjoying
Right.
this? Do you feel okay? Like, is it? Oh my God! Like, yes, keep going. Jesus, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
can you imagine like the amount of men that's made to feel like, well, in America, we'd be made to feel like corny, right?
Yes,
For even
corny
saying,
or like a pussy. You know, you're
Yeah.
supposed to take charge,
right?
Like, I'm just gonna grab her, push her up against a wall, feel her up, like, and that's what we also thought we wanted as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Fucking Twilight, you know, it's like all the movies where that happens, and we're going, oh my God, that's so hot. And it's, of course, it's hot for
Yeah.
us there. It's in a fantasy. When that happens in real life, it's terrifying.
Especially
And-
since I'm not a porn actor all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you are porn actors.
Yeah, and they
So
just like think you're gonna switch it on. Sometimes you don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, nightmare. You really have it in at the moment. I feel like men are supposed to know everything right now. Like we've kind of set ourselves up. We can talk, we can do that. But when it comes to sex, it's like you have to act dominant, but also respect their boundaries, but also be submissive, but also take it and fuck the right way. And we're expecting a lot of guys at the moment. And when they don't get it perfect,
Yeah.
they get hounded for.
Now
And
we got
yeah.
bad dick, and it's just like, no, maybe I just
Just
worked
a
the 8
bad
hour
day.
shift. Like, yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes. We fuck up as well. We fuck up just the same, but men
Yeah.
get it so much worse
Yeah,
at the
true.
moment.
Yeah.
Worse. It's killing me.
But we're trying our best.
Yeah, a lot of you are trying, not everyone, but
Yeah.
they'll catch up eventually.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
You saying that you wish you can go back and like fuck your exes just to see how it is. It made me think about how I even use like role play to like have a like better sexual experience.
Yes.
And I've come to this point where I can use role play as like a sexual healing aspect.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. So like say for instance, I would have me and my girlfriend Mila, we would create scenarios that we may have been in before and it may not have like went really well.
Yeah.
But we would imagine ourselves in it, right? So we can imagine ourselves in like this one night stand. I'll use that the simplest way. As a one night stand situation. And then now we can imagine ourselves in a one night stand at this amazing sexual experience because we know who we are with each other. And afterwards, whenever she thinks about a one night stand, she has the memory of what we did. And whenever she thinks about something
so
that is
good.
like sexual that may have been traumatic, let's replay that. Let's run that back with me and you, same scenario. And now when you think of said sexual act or something of the sort, you remember this great experience. And now your body registers that. Right? Your body
love
registers that. And when you think about that, you feel good. Now your reactions to things are differently. And you know, those times when you
Yeah.
think of like random things throughout the day. You know, those times when you think of like random good sexual moments throughout the day, you're like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you feel that like
Yeah.
twinge. Like,
right? And it,
I
right?
call it a pussy gallop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pussy gallop.
Yeah.
Or you probably get like a dick twitch.
The
like
dick
Yeah.
twitch.
Or a dick surge, depending. Yeah.
So that Kegel the time, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, like, ugh.
It just changes the whole day.
Yeah.
It changes how you feel and stuff like that. So like, there's just been different sexual healing things like I've been trying to like explore and see how that works out.
That's so cool. What would you like to sexually heal? Sorry, I feel like I've got like questions in my head.
Right? Didn't we just say like, oh my god, I'm so tired from talking? Now it's
Yeah,
just
I
like,
know.
Yeah, I don't know. It came out. I was just like, I want to know everyone's sexual healing, like what
What?
they want to heal.
I was talking to my therapist recently about like getting more into kink to like go through all my like daddy issues basically and how that could be like a really healing experience for me because I haven't really got to do it properly. Like I've done like bits here and there, but yeah, like just having like a really caring male figure in my life would be so healing.
So healing. We talk
They
about
always fuck it up though. I try.
Yeah, we talk about daddy issues quite a bit. I don't know if you were the same. Like, I feel like being a sex worker, I was always like, I don't have daddy issues. I'm a sex worker. But it's just like, no, everyone has fucking daddy and mummy issues.
Yeah.
Everyone. They just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
You
Or how
know? We
it
both have daddy issues. Like,
Yeah. Well, for me, I do. Well, I have my own parental issues. Mine just don't like manifest into sex.
Yeah.
But I can see how it manifests into other things that can affect my sex.
Yeah.
So it's like
Interesting.
patience.
Right.
Right, not having a lot
Yeah.
of patience. Not my parents not having a lot of patience for me, then turns into me not having a lot of patience, and that can affect, maybe someone not being ready at the time, or when I was younger, if a woman was like wet enough yet, and it's just like, oh, come on, because
Yeah.
I'm ready to like
man.
that level of impatience that can
Yeah.
like, a man can have when it comes to a sexual experience can like lead to like a dangerous path without even knowing. Right. So that's how I've realized that like. I've had to heal my patience, and healing other aspects of me made sex better, or sex with me better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck, that's fascinating.
I know.
Or like, I don't know, like that, the attention. I'm thinking about like daddy issues, abandonment issues, but getting the intense attention from them, and then wanting that in my sex, just being like, I want it so intense. I want like, I don't want to think, I don't want to feel. I want like pounding. I want like consensual, non-consensual. I want bondage. I want like all of this. And it's like, is that real me? Is that what I actually want, or is that a manifestation of the trauma and I need
Oh
to
my
like
god, imagine if like what you really needed was just like super slow, super
tantric,
sensual,
imagine.
so connected. Like it's almost like you're scared of it.
Yeah,
Maybe you should like
it's very
maybe
possible I
that could be a
scared
healing
of it.
experience for you.
I would like to try it.
Being
It just
seen,
doesn't turn me
like
on.
being so seen and like felt and worshipped, and
This is what my ex did. That was the only time I enjoyed kissing and like slowing things down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll try Tantra at some point in my life. It's just not very good with yoga or like mindfulness, try it really hard. But I'm just like impatient.
Yeah, so for me, when it comes to like being mindful in my mind, I was so into what I thought, right? And this whole perfection thing comes from like reevaluating myself over and over. What do I want? What do I actually want? What do I actually like? And reevaluating that over and over to the point where I can get to this space and say, oh, I like this, and I can communicate to others what I like. So, with knowing that, it makes it easier to have like sexual experiences, or how I want people to like please me. And so one of the ways I've realized that I did that was like through masturbation, right?
Oh yeah.
So this is a whole nother sexual healing like aspect. And I was telling my co-host this, that I would have conversations with my dick in hand.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, through while masturbating. And it's like, so the way I explained to him, I'm glad we have a better visual now, was so I use like my chakras, right? But I don't, depending on the lineage, chakras are seen like differently, right? But if we're using the verbiage of these are balls of energies within you, right? And if they are in alignment, like good things happen. So the way I view it as, you have like your chakra for release, right? In the conversation we were having, your chakra for release, like near your tailbone, and then you have your chakra, your sexual chakra, which is your lingam or your vulva, whatever. Your core chakra, your heart chakra, your throat chakra. So this is when you speak things, speak manifestations, that energy. Your third eye chakra, which is like visualizations. Then your mind chakra, which is like your connection to the universe. Now, don't quote me on any of that, because I am trying my best to learn, and I'm still in a learning space, right? But basically, it's just based on how I view it, right? And how it resonates with me. So if I think about alignment, when things are aligned, that's when I can make a decision, because now it feels right, right? So now if I visualize, like I'm using that third eye to visualize, literally see this energy inside of me and in alignment, I'm using this alignment as a way of saying, okay, if things are in order, then whatever comes to my mind is what I actually want. And then that's how I can make a decision of, I could differentiate between, is this an outside voice, or is this how I actually feel and what I actually want? Take that to the next level of added masturbation. I use like my limbs as a way of like channeling energy, right? And it's just, and this is all just visualizing, right? And just doing it how you feel the most comfortable. So I use my limbs as like my hands specifically as ways to like push out or receive energy, right? So I'm using my hand on my lingam or on my penis, and my heart chakra right here, I'm using this energy to channel through towards my lingam, right? And now as I'm using my throat, I'm speaking things that I want to heal, or maybe things that I want, or maybe things that I don't like. And I'm speaking to my penis as if it's an actual person. So doing all of this, and I would usually use this when I want to like release some type of like trauma or energy or something that I may not want in life. And so I would envision that first chakra, that tailbone, as like the way I'm like letting go, and I'm letting it go through masturbation, so that release what we get when we come. I'm also envisioning that trauma or something being like leaving me.
Okay. Like you're jizzing it out of your body.
Exactly.
I mean, it is an energy release, like an orgasm, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
So now when you concentrate it on something that you don't want within you, right? It becomes more powerful, and you'll realize, well, I don't know if you'll realize, but I've realized that I get that clarity, that post-nut clarity that comes, that's after that release. You get that information that what your body really wants, and it comes with that post-nut
Interesting.
clarity.
I don't know if women get that.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
only
not
one
sure.
way to find out.
Yeah, maybe we need to try
Definitely
it.
hear post-nut clarity as being more of a people with penises thing.
Yeah, post-nut clarity, but having that ceremony can be used either way.
Yes,
because that is
yes.
womb healing, right? That connection that with your vagina, especially women that have like trauma, sexual trauma. It's what happens next is a disconnect from your womb or a disconnect from your vagina, and then you don't know what pleases you, don't know what you like, and then what happens is you start having partners that you can't communicate what you want. So now your body is accepting more things that it doesn't want. It's accepting more partners that you don't want, and you've never went through this moment to check in with yourself to see what you actually like and actually want. So now you're further being disconnected by the amount of bodies that you add to the amount of sexual experience that you add to your body. Now, there is nothing wrong with that, of course, but it's just a connect. There's a connection there of disconnect, right? When you think about how you have sexual trauma and then you don't try to heal that by having a connection back.
It's too scary.
Yeah, exactly. You just stay away from it.
Yeah, or you blank. I'm trying to put the language that you're using in terms that maybe would resonate for me, because saying that I don't believe in this stuff isn't fair. That's not true. It's just that I have a, the language is so different. It's not, it's not that it's not happening, but maybe it's the
Repetitive patterns and
when I think of mindfulness or what's it called, meditation, if someone said meditation or mindfulness, I'd be like, oh, fuck that. But if someone was like, oh no, just sit, focus on your breathing and visualize, and I'd be like, oh, that's cool, that sounds great.
Right.
And it's the same with the chakras. Is there something that like that I can also connect with, where it's like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like when you're saying about lining up the chakras, what would that be in terms of science?
your spine.
Is it spine, or is it like, like the voice? Is it, I'm thinking about voice, I'm thinking about energy.
This is what I'm like thinking about when it comes to like trying to explain is having everybody on the same communication scale. Yeah. Right? So if we can all have the same understanding, because honestly, a lot of things is the same shit, just said different ways.
It's the same shit, right? It's just
all the same thing.
Yeah.
So if I were to come to you now, because I don't like using chakras, honestly, because not everybody is going to resonate with that. It resonates with me, so that's how I like to communicate with that. But if I were to explain it to somebody, it was just when things feel right.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what alignment is. It's just things feel in place and in order. In alignment, right? So alignment for me just means things feel right for me to make a decision. So the physical part of doing this ceremony is touching your vagina and speaking out loud what you want or what you don't want, right? Because also your sex magic. But also
I was talking about it the other day on the podcast.
Yeah. And what people need to, this is what we can agree on, is that your lingam or your vulva or your sexual organs is
Yoni.
your yoni or your lingam, view it as a place of projection and a place of withdrawal.
Okay, hold on. Yep, I'm just gonna.
Yep, there you go, right? So now you visualize this like area as a place of projection so you can give off whatever you want or you can accept whatever you want within this time.
Reed, we were literally having this conversation the other day where we were saying that we suck energy from our partners during sex and you feel more energized after having sex.
Yes,
I made a joke saying, sometimes I feel like a succubus.
Yeah. Just like taking it. But is it just that, I don't know, sex gives me all the good endorphins in my brain and I just feel energized?
Well,
I can't imagine that I'm like literally zapping his energy. I think their energy is getting zapped and my energy is getting like, oh, yeah.
The sex is building energy between you, which is a thing too.
Yeah, but I like the idea of it. If I'm like sucking his energy like through a straw, like his dick's a straw, like let me take it. Then sure, I'll do that.
Perfect, I'll take it. but I mean, men are supposed to be, I think men are supposed to be energy givers, right? Because our body is physically made to create like sperm, right?
Give.
It's made to create that
and
energy.
Ejaculate.
So it's not necessarily taking; it's receiving. Right?
Okay,
that's a really interesting way of looking at it.
See how when you change around the words, what happens?
Nice.
So it's really receiving because you can't. Taking away would mean like there's a sacrifice to the person that you're taking from.
Yeah.
Right? You're taking away and now they don't have that.
Yeah.
But if I can recreate energy and if I'm made to recreate energy, you're not taking anything from me. This is going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
So now all you have to do is sit there and receive it.
Oh, I'm going to receive.
Ready to receive, baby.
Yeah. So that's just how like I've been viewing it. And when I view it like that also, when I'm having sex with intention and I put good intention behind it, or when I'm having like this solo sexual experience, then whatever I'm giving off is good energy because I'm doing a ceremony that's meant for positivity and peace and whatever I want this ceremony to be. So the physical part of it is, putting your fingers in your yoni, right? Feeling yourself, being connected. If you feel like, just envision like energy coming out of your palms, right? Or energies coming out of your body, but you can redirect it to yourself, right? So
I've done that before, but I just see it as a visualization.
But that's also another chakra. But if you don't want to think about chakras, you just think about a visualization. You just say speaking, visualization, physical touching my yoni, and I want trauma to be gone. And as you are orgasming or coming or whatever experience you're having through this journey, you're thinking about whatever you want gone. And then when that point of orgasm comes, then you listen.
Yeah.
Sex magic.
Yeah, sex magic. I did notice a massive difference when I was just masturbating to orgasm to be able to go to sleep to actually taking it as self-care, as like, don't just have a wank just to finish it, to go to sleep, to actually in your mind, like prep yourself, like tonight I'm going to masturbate and I'm going to choose my toys and I'm going to lube myself up and like explore my whole body. Like
so
that was a game
when you're
changer.
single as well, because I don't think people do it enough. You need to like set up masturbation as like having sex with yourself so that you have a sex life whilst you're single.
You still have a sex life. Yes, you do. You will always have a sex life. And there's a difference between having a sex life and having an intercourse life, right?
Yeah.
And so, and people think that sex is just intercourse. It's like sex starts at so many different places before like the intercourse. So I just,
Sex starts in the mind, man.
Sex starts in the mind.
From the moment you wake up.
It starts from up here and when in alignment, it goes.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how you use the verbiage. But the point of me saying that complicated as disconnect story was if you reconnect, then you find out what you actually like, communicate that to partners, and it's just a way of like a better sexual healing experience.
I wonder if there'd be a time where I would be into slow, sensual, tantric sex.
Well, there might not ever be a time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you just knowing that, like sitting in the unknown is what's uncomfortable about that. It's when if you know, like, oh, I don't like that shit. You don't got to sit here and be like, I'm wondering, and your.
But I feel like, because I feel like I don't like that shit. That's not for me. But then I feel like I have to keep my mind open, just in case.
Because there's something there where your mind is telling you, like, I got to keep it open for some reason. So
okay, maybe
I should go figure it out.
Okay, interesting.
Maybe
All right,
someone's going to come into your life and like completely disrupt everything.
potentially, I'm ready to receive.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the aim.
You're right. So there's just so much sovereignty, right, in like yourself, like, and within that sovereignty, like knowing yourself, then you just have like all these great experiences.
Yeah.
And then you heal, like I said, even if it doesn't heal the sex directly, you're healing other things that make the sex better. Boom.
You're making me think of, though, when people say like, "Oh, I know I'm not into that. I know that," and then I just think, but you're denying or protecting yourself, right?
Yeah.
So having that open mind. So, for example, maybe a straight cis man who's like, "No, I know I would never be into guys," and it's like, but like, how do you know? You know. I'm using that as just an example. Anything like sex toys, for example, men using sex toys, or I don't know. I just feel like saying being that sure within yourself could also not be that sure. It could also be that you're protecting yourself from something.
It can be, and that's where you got to.
But they would know
find out.
deep down, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. If they know, right? They know if they're lying. Also, so they can say that and be like, "Oh, I know I'm saying this out loud because I'm scared to like show who I actually am." But I can perpetuate or say that, oh, this is not what I like, and they know it's true.
You can repress stuff. You can like
people can.
You can believe it so much at the time, and it takes years for you to break that down.
That's why people come out the closet like in their 50s.
Right. And could you imagine the amount of people that actually watch sex and say, not even the people that say I don't like that, but convince themselves that they like something that they like.
God,
just because of what they've seen,
like conversion therapy. Or I think about all the religious folk that are trying to get OnlyFans taken down, and all the people that that believe that sex work is bad and the porn industry should be abolished. And I'm like, well, there's no way that all of you are never watching porn or never interacting with a sex worker or never thinking about a sex worker or never having sex in that way. There is just no way it's possible that all of you are just like, no, this is bad. And then
I don't touch it. I don't touch the stuff. No, not me. I know it's bad, but I ain't touching the stuff. It's like, so there's that funny point of like seeing that and knowing like there's something just not right here. But I will say, in my experience, from knowing myself sexually and all of these things, it makes it easier for me to feel somebody's energy and realize you're not being your true self. Yeah. I can feel that. You start feeling these things, and with that feeling, you start realizing little things in people that are being themselves, and then realizing things in people that aren't being themselves, and that's how you could pinpoint better who's who.
It's like what Florence, like you taught me this, where it's like if it's coming from a place of fear or if it's coming from a place of love. And I think if that sureness is coming from a place of fear, then there's something to be questioned there. But if the sureness is coming from a place of love, where it's like, oh yeah, no, like I would never fuck a dude, but I wish I would. That'd be really cool. Rather than like, oh no, that's disgusting. No,
that's what the guy in Seeing Now says.
Yeah. What?
He's like, I wish I was more gay. Like I tried it, but I'm just not into dick.
And all the dudes that I have fucked that have like not been straight, they've always been like fearing it. But the ones that are really genuinely pretty straight, they're the ones that been like, yeah, man, that's cool. Like I think maybe I was in love once with a dude. Like
I kissed a dude. I tried it. Didn't work for me.
Didn't work. Yeah. Oh, love it.
So I've never tried anything with a guy, but I know I wouldn't like it just because of the fact that I've seen other penises, and I am like, I can. Every time I see a penis, I can almost vomit, real life vomit at that time. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to ever see a penis and be like, I need to get closer to that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
Let me pick this apart. Why am I repulsed by it?
I am literally repulsed by seeing another penis. Now, it's not repulsed like I'm looking at like, damn, everybody needs to get rid of their dick and I need to be the only one that has a dick.
God, imagine.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like, it's fine, everybody has a dick, but I just know that I've seen enough in the world, and I just know, like, every time I see one, I get the same reaction. That's got to be telling me that that's not for me.
I don't know.
So that's my other aspect.
The repulsion. I feel like if you've never tried it, you can't say no. You always have to give something a go.
That is also true. But
like, what happened to you? Why are you so repulsed?
I'm not repulsed in this. I'm not repulsed in like the sense of like I don't want it near me.
But I'm not repulsed
in the sense of like I don't want it near me. Like, I've been to play parties, stone play parties, and I've seen people be nude. I'm actually happy that people can be nude. And I actually rather a world where people choose if they want to be nude or wear clothes. So it's like, if people, I can see it. If I can see dicks, if people want to show their dicks, fine. I don't want to see your dick, but if it's seen, it's fine. So it's not like I don't want anything to do with it. I've seen people fuck, and I'm like, y'all two look really good, dick and pussy together, right? I can see that, but just seeing a dick by itself or interacting it, me personally, I just can't see it for myself.
But I feel the same about non-monogamy. I was like, I will never ever get into a relationship where it has to be monogamous. I can't do that, but I can't say no until I try it. I think that's extremely important. I can't turn around and say, I know I definitely don't want this until I give it a go. Yeah.
And so I just see it as my body's trying to protect me from something, or my body doesn't like it, even though I'm not saying that I'm with it, but it's just like, I'm not bothered by it, but my body just has feelings somewhere that's just like, not for us.
Don't like it. Yeah, well,
I decide not to do something. Like, I'm scared of skydiving, and I'm not going to do it. But I probably would enjoy it if I, it's like one of those things. You don't have to try everything.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have to try everything. Yeah,
no, if you don't want to do it.
Right.
I'm not trying to force you to suck a dick right now.
Thank you for not trying to force me to
I'm
get
going to be
back.
like, Orlando's gay until he sucks a dick and tells me he doesn't like it.
Oh, man. But yeah.
She's trying to get an exclusive.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, give me that gay for pay content right now.
Is this the kind of podcast for it? Oh, man. So the other part about like all this like healing things and stuff like that is like also self-love.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sitting here understanding myself, knowing myself, and it makes me want to love myself. And I've come to realize the other part of that is I can not have people in my life and still love them. Right. So I can have this like I'm saying, even the sexual release, it like works with like people too. So I can be around someone that I'm like, oh, I love or whatever, but you've done something that I need to step away from. And I view it just the same way as like sex. And so like love healing also. And I feel like people keep people in life just based on love.
That's true. Like the harsh life lesson of when you realize that your family doesn't have to be your family. You can choose your family. And you grow up thinking that they are everything, and their word goes, and everything they believe in like is fact, and then you're like, oh wait, you're just a fucking child yourself. You're just another human making mistakes just like me. And I can choose who I want to keep around with love. I feel like we keep a lot of our family close to us because we think we have to be family with them. We think we have to love them. You're right about the love thing.
Even
like,
childhood friends, like people that
childhood
are in your life,
relationships, partners, because you love them, yet they're still not giving you what you need or what you want. I mean, like I literally went through that with my breakup. Like no, I have to love you over there. Like, but we can't do this together. Not right now, anyway.
And that shit has come from knowing myself.
Yeah.
And no, I just can't like that. It just doesn't sit with me.
Nice little breather.
Yeah.
I've had to do this on dates recently where I'll be so hyped up and energized and excited, especially if I do multiple dates in one day.
Okay.
And then I'll get there and I feel like maybe there's a time constraint, or I just like want to say everything and find out everything, and I have to be like, sorry, do you mind if I just take a massive breath and just
really?
Yeah, I've done this on a couple of dates. Like,
and what do they do?
Sometimes they do a breath with me, but sometimes they don't.
They just look at you like,
they're like, oh, that's a good idea, and I'm like, yeah, that's hot, you fucking breathe with me.
See, you're spiritual and mindful as fuck.
Yeah, it's just maybe said in a different way. Like I'm engaging my sympathetic nervous system, and I'm literally physically calming myself down, like resetting my mind, like that kind of stuff. It's just different. It's different language, isn't it? It's just I mean, the language that you're using is ancient. It's like, it's been there from the dawn of time.
It's crazy because people have told me that. But so multiple people have told me that based on how I speak of what I've spoken about or what I speak to them, that I have the knowledge of what people go a lifetime trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And sometimes they still don't even achieve it.
Yeah,
And
most people don't.
and I've gotten it in 30 years. I've heard this in multiple spaces. I personally, it's not something that I've ever said about myself. So now, like, I'm being like more accepting of it. But I do feel good knowing that I've been able to figure this out on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember if it was your podcast or my own where I said like I'm a spiritual autodidact, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why that shit has been like so interesting to me is because what you're saying, like I have this thought process or like knowledge of like that's ancient. I have no connection into learning any of it. I've only been regurgitating and saying these stuff just by self-thought. So I've never looked into like Kundalini until I started having conversations like this, and people were talking to me and they were like, oh, this sounds like this ancient knowledge, or this sounds like this ancient verbiage that you're doing already, so you should look into it. Right? And now I'm at this point where I'm trying to understand like the definitions, so I can't wait
and the
to
origins
get origins
and
stuff like that. So when I speak to people, sorry, lovey, when I speak to people, I can say, hey, I can have more of a definition to things. Like, oh, you know, Florence, that there was this ancient language and da-da-da-da. And I feel like I have a good way of finding the balance between the science and spirituality and how to communicate it to people. So I've been very hype with like learning a bit more. And when people have told me like, oh, you know, you have thought process for like ages. And I'm just like, well, I thank you. I am perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. So I hope that y'all can feel it resonating with you to then say like, you know what, maybe if I do heal myself first, I can heal other aspects, right?
Yeah, it is about,
the
I feel
work.
like when you hit your 30s, just it is about yourself. It is about stop pleasing other people and the self-care, and you
For
really
some
like
people.
yeah, for some people you're right. Yeah. But like before then, I feel like it was all so fucked. It was just doing everything for other people or what you think other people wanted to see, or how
Once
you
you've got
should
out
act.
of that train, once you got off the carriage, then you start to see things clearly and like be able to be like, okay, now I've got to like relearn. It's all about relearning. The healing is relearning.
Yeah.
All the things that society told us we were supposed to do and supposed to feel. It's like, actually, what is it like deep down that like what's the human in me want to experience rather than what I've been told to experience.
Exactly. How could I be more perfect now by finding out what I want
Yeah.
instead of what society has told me I should want?
Perfection.
See how it flows so nicely now?
Yeah, I love that word.
You like it now, right? Yeah, you can be perfectly. You can make perfect mistakes, right? Because imagine all the shit that's happened in life to lead you to right here, right? And if you've made these perfect mistakes, but you stayed on the path for yourself, maybe you veer from the path and come back. You realize that, wow, sticking to who I was, going on this porn set, pointing at this house has led me to this point where I have this platform where I can talk about what I want.
Yeah.
And we learn about ourselves
And
from
learn
it.
about
Yes, I think we're
yourselves.
also in a very like privileged position where we're having a podcast, and it's basically like doing a therapy session every single
Literally,
time.
Yeah.
Every time. Like we have therapy and we are constantly in therapy, and I think I mean everyone should do therapy. It's so good. If you if you can't start a podcast, speak to a professional, you know?
Yeah.
Or start a podcast. Start a podcast.
So I do see y'all podcast as like a sexual healing space.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank
Well,
you.
in my birth chart, it actually says that I'm a sexual healer, and I was like,
baby.
well, that's exactly what we do. We get people coming up to us saying like, you know, I went through this trauma, and now after listening to your podcast, I'm having the best sex of my life.
Yeah.
You guys are sexual healers.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for your contribution to the world.
Oh my god, I was trying to tell the guy that I was seeing a few months ago that I was a sexual healer whilst he had like a bad back. And I came round and like we had like some really good sex, and he started feeling better afterwards. He was like, no, it was something else. I was like, it was me.
It was me. It was my magic pussy.
Yes, it's good to have magic pussies, isn't it?
Yes.
Maybe it's the same thing, but I feel like I'm the best in bed. Like, I am the best person to fuck. I almost feel like
As
I want
you
to fuck
should.
everyone. And like,
Because you
Yeah.
want to make, hey, all of y'all need good sex.
yeah,
Come to me.
yeah. That's why I fuck so many people, because I'm like, you have to come and fuck me. Because
I am on board with you because when I was younger, and I used to hang out with women a lot, and even when I was in high school. So when we're all like in this teenage year, start having sex and talking about it. I'm like, wow, these girls are losing their virginities and having sex and having terrible experiences.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I do my due diligence so that when I'm having these sexual experiences, that women are enjoying themselves and they're not going back and saying like, oh, they had a bad experience, blah blah blah. And then I was sitting there like, wow. I need to save the world through sex.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like.
Exactly how I
That's
thought about
amazing
it.
you had that experience and you took on those opinions of those other
Responsibility.
women. Yeah. Instead of just being like, ugh, I don't want to hear this. This is
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's almost like you got to avoid people in same-sex schools, like my ex. To be fair,
You were in a
I was from a
same-sex
same-sex
school.
school, but I've done the work. I put in
Yeah.
the work to be here.
Yeah.
And some people got to catch up,
Yeah. I was lucky I was in a mixed school.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
The work is just so interesting when it comes to like realizing that it's a journey, right? And not a goal. So it's like continuous.
Yeah, you're never going to get to the point where it's just like,
It doesn't end. You just keep going and you keep
I was going to say
staying
the word
path.
perfect, but we're already perfect.
Oh, actually, so this is, now that we're talking about like the journey and perfection, this
Sorry.
is like, you're fine, love. This is like a Confucius quote, right? And I love like
I love
referencing back in
Confucius.
this.
That's
Love
such a good
Confucius as well.
word.
Wow, me and Rita. We're
What
here.
is that? What's a Confucius?
It's a philosopher. Confucius is a philosopher, and his philosophy is Confucianism, right? And one of the
Heard this word before.
Such a good word.
yeah, it's an Asian philosopher. So one of the things that he said before, and I love bringing it up because it resonates with me and has since I was a kid, was and one of his followers coming up to him and saying, how do I be more like Confucius, right? Because he's seen
Yeah.
as this figure, this positive person, and things like that. And basically, he said what he said was, as long as you stay on the path to be of Confucianism, you will be me, and the goal is the path, right? The goal of being perfect is consistently staying in the responsibility and the actions of perfection. So
Yeah.
if I'm sitting here saying to y'all like my perfection is me being myself all the time and making other people feel comfortable, I have to constantly do that. But I'm
Yeah.
willing to accept that responsibility. And so it's like, are you willing to accept the responsibility of like being the sexual healer? Are you willing to accept the responsibility of coming on speaking on a platform and people
Yeah.
hear your voice and your opinions
Yeah.
and then it be helpful or not helpful in any type of way? We all
We've accepted.
Yeah.
That is our purpose.
Yeah, love the radical
And lie.
acceptance.
and now you have a perfect
Yeah.
podcast, perfect for both of y'all to share this space and also share space for other people.
Yeah.
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 We could work on the money side of things, though, to make
Yeah.
it perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get perfectly
Stop
financed.
manifesting 22233.
Yeah, where's the 1111s?
Yeah. So with all the conversations we've been having and stuff like that, I have thought about how making these decisions and the path like it could have veered off of just like based off fear and like fear from like past relationships is like crazy. And even one of the things that I am still trying to figure out how to do is get the fear from past relationships out of like my current relationship.
Yeah. Because you're
We were
like,
talking about this the other day, right?
Yeah, and we're creatures of habit. We repeat ourselves unless we actively stop and unlearn, and that's a very difficult
Yeah.
path.
I think the situation that I'm in currently, where I'm just kind of seeing someone casually, is kind of out of fear of being in a relationship.
Yeah,
Because when I have, at the beginning of or the end of last year, I kind of like dipped back into relationship again, and it just burnt me. And now I feel myself withdrawing. And it's like I did desire it, but I'm like almost numbing myself to that desire because I'm scared of the pain and I have a fear around it.
Yeah. And your body is registering that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, going back into the situation. Remember all that shit that happened to you.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Florence. You're going to hop back into this. You're going to get hurt again, girl.
But I also do feel like I've stepped back to really figure out what I want in a relationship. And maybe that's something that's not gelling properly. Like, is like the reason things aren't working out is because I haven't figured out what I actually want from a relationship.
Yeah. And another part of this is realizing that it's what your body wants also. So you have to kind of like train and register things to your body, and also like have a certain amount of respect to your body to take care of it, right? Because let's say, for instance, there are cells in your body. There are alive things in your body, right? Which means that your body isn't your own. It's a vessel, right? It's a shared vessel between all the cells in your brain and stuff like that. But your brain doesn't have eyes. Your brain doesn't have a mouth. You do. How you decide to communicate that is how you do, but your brain is just there trying to live like you are, right? So it's going to send off certain... If you've been going through shit that's been fucking you over and it doesn't feel good, and it's like, all right, well, motherfucker, I'm going to send this signal or this hormone through or this chemical through your body to make you feel like you need to stay away from this. Because every time we've done this, it hasn't worked out. So that's why that moment...
Hurt.
Yeah, it hurts so much. Stop doing it.
But that's anxiety, isn't it?
And
it's
that
like
is anxiety.
It's predicting an unpredictable future
based on
the past. Yeah, rather than living in the present and being like, this is a completely different situation, and it's not necessarily going to happen the exact same way.
Right. And who do you tell that sentence to?
My vulva?
Exactly. That's how you tell that sentence to yourself. And so if you want to tell it to your yoni or vulva or whatever, now you make that connection, right? You speak to your brain, and now you're reprogramming, relearning, whatever verbiage like we want to call it, because that's what you need to heal.
Yeah.
And so then when you do that ceremony of like your lingam or your yoni, that the sex magic ceremony, your brain is registering like this new information, like, oh, we're cool. Because I can't see if we're okay out in the world. You're there to do whatever you need to do to make sure we're good. So I can't see that. But if you're sitting in this moment and your brain is saying like, oh, I feel this energy, and you're telling me that I'm cool, then we're good. So now that angst that you feel, I ain't going to give it to you like I used to give it to you. I'm not going to give you the whole full percent, like, don't do it. Maybe I'll give it like a 25, like, maybe your body is still scared, right? And so that's why you have to do those, like, ceremonies or those moments. Yeah. And that is a way of role-playing with your own body. Wow, that was good.
Yeah, that was some good shit. I really like the idea of the relearning and re-healing or healing through sex.
Yeah.
But it's just trying to find the right person. And masturbation, and masturbation.
Yeah. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to find this like person that's gonna like just be everything.
Could you imagine with the amount of people in the world that's going like, one of you motherfuckers is gonna fix this.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna find out who.
And I'm gonna find you the stress. Yeah.
But the people that come into your lives are coming into your lives for the perfect reason. I do definitely believe that. Like, the person that I'm seeing now has taught me so much and has really led me down this path of figuring out what I really want and this rebirth.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't have met him, I don't know if I would have been here right now.
Yeah. But also, if you haven't met all these other people that didn't do you right, you also wouldn't have been here right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just like this intricate balance of like hurt, learn, heal, hurt, learn, heal. That's constantly and relearning with your body, role playing. It's just consistent. But that is why the goal is still being on the journey, because the work is always happening. And you can't get to the end of the goal because you have to continuously do this, right? Continuously like be yourself, think to yourself, figure out what you want. And this is why I want to get into like and these ceremonies and things that I'm coming up with, whether I'm role playing with Mila or I'm role playing with myself or doing like a self-sexual healing ceremony, I'm just coming up with. I don't have an answer. It's just what resonates well with me. Yeah. But that's why I think like doing things like Tantra or learning more definitions is a way that I can now educate through communication. Because like there's no what's that college thing of like what you're about to be learning syllabus? or whatever.
Yeah, the
you
syllabus.
might be syllabus,
Yeah.
right? There's no syllabus for yourself, right? Because you've never been here before, so nobody's ever seen you before. So nobody could say like, "Hey, I've written out who you are. We're gonna teach everybody about you," right? So now you have to learn that for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I had a really weird thought recently about like, what if when we die, we just replay our same life over again
But without memory.
without the memory of doing it? And that's why we get deja vu, because we've actually done it
Been here
before.
before.
That
would
was
be
my
cool.
theory with deja vu for a while. But like that thought terrifies me.
Really?
The thought of reliving my life again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nobody likes the thought of being stuck in a cycle, and that's why
But then
things.
also like
I could relive
doing
my life
all the
again.
shit that I did and experienced, I don't want to do that again.
Well, thank God I don't believe in anything after death.
And that's the reason why, because it's like I could do this again. So like you feel cool with nothing being there.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever, man. Take me to hell if that's
Right.
that's happening.
Right. Or if you want to reset this again, fine. Right. So that feeling feels comfortable for you. But I'm happy that you have that feeling, and I'm happy that you have like your own. Because honestly, I feel like I feel like when you die, you are immediately reborn into whatever you're reborn into, and depending on how you die, it's such a shock to your newborn birth. But because babies don't have the muscles to speak, the crying and the reaction and everything is the memory from your past life sitting there like, I can't do anything. I can't communicate with anybody.
Yeah, that's
and
a cool idea.
And as you get older to like 3, 4, you start forgetting that, and then as your muscles work and that brain starts working, it starts becoming its own brain. But that's just my idea.
People have like
Yeah, people talk about this.
have previous lives, like children talk about like some crazy
Things
thing
that
that
they
it's just
experienced.
like, wow, like they wouldn't have known this.
They
That's
do, but
wild.
people also have seen God and Jesus and ghosts and
People see it all. It just depends on their interpretation. And so
Yeah.
now it's up to everybody else to choose, like, do I want to believe you or do I don't?
Yeah, true. I mean, Reed sees ghosts, so
oh yeah,
I do too.
I don't see ghosts. I think ghosts are fun. Love ghosts.
she's the only
but-
one that's seen them though.
Yeah, but I've seen what my brain has manifested as an image of what it thought it saw as a ghost, and it just created shapes out of the darkness.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Lol, that could have been a ghost."
That I say the same thing. That's why I just said like, oh yeah, I see ghosts also, because I understand that you're seeing like a perception or however you explained it, and so I accept it all, right? Because I don't know your experience, but if you're, well, I don't know Florence's experience, but if you're telling me from your point of view this experience that you're having, then I'm gonna listen, and that's how you've just educated me, because there's no syllabus on you. You can explain through speaking about your experiences, and I can learn from this and then take it in and say like, oh, does this resonate with me or not? And so now you see how like all these ceremonies and everything just always comes together in like a new cycle in different ways.
Ceremonies. I can tell you my ghost story because it's fun.
Oh, please do.
Oh, well, right now.
Do you want to?
Yeah. Are we good for time?
Oh, there's no.
No end. Okay.
There's no way.
There's no end.
It's the journey. There's no goal. But we can. No, you can tell you the ghost story, and then we can get into your events. I can't wait to see what you guys vent about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, forgot about that bit.
So ghost story is back in the flat that I used to live in with my sister and a housemate. Actually, the flat that I used to live in with Florence. The way that our kitchen and living room are positioned, it's like a big long corridor, and then there's 2 doors in front of each other. And again, don't believe in ghosts, but one night I'm going to bed and I think that my sister's home, and I go into the kitchen, and as I go into the bathroom, which is next door, like my eyes flick into the dark living room, and I walk past, and I was like, that's fucking weird. Why is Flynn sitting on the sofa? And I was like, wait a second. I go back. This is all in like a split second. So I go back ready to be like, why are you sitting in here in the dark? Realizing there's no one there, and realizing like what I actually saw, which was a ghostly female figure sitting not the direction of the sofa, like kind of off the sofa, a bit like that, sitting that way with like the blankest, stariest face. It's just like, and I was like, whoa, what did I just see? That's crazy. I love it. I didn't get a negative, scary feeling at all.
Yeah.
Like, I was very much like warm and cozy, and I was like, okay, cool, all right. Go and brush my teeth. My sister comes home, tell my sister everything. The next motherfucking day, she comes home thinking that one of us is home, the lights are off, and as she's walking down that big long corridor, you have to walk past our bedrooms, and she walked past Rosie's bedroom door that had a crack in the door, and walking past it straight to her room, she looked over, glanced over, and saw an eye looking back at her.
I didn't hear this bit.
Through Rosie's door, and she was like, again, walked past, she's like, that's fucking weird, I thought Rosie wasn't in. Like, realizes that Rosie isn't in, and then she's like freaking out about this eye, also because I've just spoken about my ghost story, and it was like a female eye as well. Yeah.
See. Ooh.
Oh, is it giving you chills?
No, it chills in a good way.
Chills in a good way.
No, I was getting chills, but in a good way, because I'm imagining, I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But
Oh my god, I love
dope.
the creepiness of like living
it's
for
kinda
it.
creepy.
It's so good.
I love the creepiness of like ghosts or spirits and stuff like that, because I've only seen them as like protectors. But it's like, why you
that's
gotta be so
nice.
creepy about it?
Yeah, why'd you have to fucking creep up? Because people are
Like,
fucking creepy. Even nice people are creepy.
Even when they're just watching you. Anybody just watching you look over it is, I guess.
And I also just think, like, think about how many people have died in the whole history of life. Like, there would be ghosts roaming everywhere. We'd be standing in ghosts right now, like sitting on top of ghosts.
Ghost
It would be
soup.
ghost fucking soup. But and then I think about, like, you know,
Like in
alternate
Hercules.
realities and like yeah, and then I'm like, wow, that's just too many fucking people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because there's times where I would hear like, oh, not here, where I feel like I would see spirits or see ghosts and stuff like that, and I just be like, not right now, just
Not right now.
I can't do it.
yeah, here, thank you, just not right now.
Or I ask myself, like, what's my brain doing at that time? Why is it thinking about the ghost right now? Is it trying to tell me something? Like with OCD, if you have intrusive thoughts and flashing intrusive thoughts, it means you're anxious.
Yeah.
That sounds so simple, but it isn't when you have OCD.
Yeah,
They just keep coming back in, and I'm like, oh shit, like that was an OCD thought. I will. I need to check what's going on. Am I okay? Why am I feeling anxious? Like even when you don't feel anxious, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your ghost stories.
Thanks. Oh yeah, we were experiencing ghosts as well today.
Yeah.
Woo, in the house. Yeah, I feel like it was just the movie we watched though.
You never know what might come.
I mean, you were experiencing ghosts.
Yeah, I saw like a figure in my room, and I was like, "Lol, that's funny." And then my bikini top went missing, and I was like, "This ghost is a fucking pervert," and put it back right next to my bag after I turned up the whole house and my whole room to find it. And I'm like, "You're just there sniffing my fucking tits."
Little weirdo ghost.
Yeah, weird. Don't smell weird. He did look weird. I think I'm pretty sure it was a he. Yeah.
All right.
Weirdo. And I was like last night, like, come fuck me.
You want it, huh? You want it?
I love ghosts. I masturbate to ghosts.
Nice.
Ghost sex, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Now this makes sense why you see ghosts. I never think of ghosts, so why would I ever see one?
Yeah, I'd love to be
You
fucked by
fuck
a ghost.
Bree's over there conjuring
Yeah,
the ghost
she's
through
like
her sex
manifesting.
magic.
Ghost
You're
whisperer.
literally manifesting the ghost.
We did a ghost walk as well once, and
I've done one of those.
and yeah, like we did the dowling rod, and the dowling rod kept turning to me every time. They're like, "Okay, now someone uses the dowling rod," and it was like, "No, me," and I was like, "Wow, I'm so
You're so
Yeah.
so spiritual,
So
and I don't
popular
even
with
know."
the spirits. Yeah.
What do we call it? Like a
Medium.
like a medium. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh,
They're like, Reed, please, I want to tell my story. I know you're a podcast host.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Please, I would like to cross.
So at this time, I like to offer the guests a moment to vent. Just have a space where they can talk about whatever they like, right? So first, if you would like to send love to somebody, you can. And then if you want to use this moment to vent about anything you like, please go ahead, Florence.
When you send love to someone, is it someone that you don't want to send love to? Or
Anybody.
is it one that you
It can
want
be.
to send love to?
It's whatever comes first.
Whatever you feel connected
Okay.
to.
Do I have to explain who or why?
If you want, or if you, this is your moment. You do whatever you want in this moment.
I want to radiate some love towards my ex because his band's playing next week and I want to go and see him, and he hasn't messaged me back about going, even though he's in LA, and it's frustrating me. I even had a stress dream about it last night. So I was just like, I just want to know whether I'm going or not. I really hate not knowing if something's going to happen, especially if it's with him. because there's feelings attached. What I really want to vent about is the fact that I fucking lost my passport a week ago.
And your glasses.
I've been losing shit left, right, and centre. Really
like
valuable things. Like a pair of sunglasses my dad gave me for Christmas, and then a pair of sunglasses my mum gave me for Christmas, kind of in replacement of those other sunglasses. And they were expensive. They were Tom Ford.
Yeah.
And then my passport. Like when I was moving from where I was living in West Hollywood to my uncle's where I'm staying now, I lost my passport in the move and it has my fucking visa in it. So it's not like I have to report it to the police.
Oh, so
I have
long.
to then go to the embassy to report it stolen or lost. And
you got your book tour in May and it's stressful as fuck.
Yeah. And I'm supposed to be going to the UK in May for that, and it's making me really nervous about it. That's my vent.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. I'm just frustrated at losing things.
Yeah. I'm happy. I hope everything works out perfectly. And,
It will.
And
Whatever happens.
I'm happy that you took this time to
Express.
Yeah.
Let it out. Let it go.
So, Reed, please, if you can send love to anybody or anything you'd like, and vent as you'd like.
I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to do vent first. I'm going to vent about my ex, because clearly there's feelings there. He's come up a couple times today. I want to vent and just say, like, we could have been so good if you had put in the work. If you had put in the work to, like, nurture yourself. And, yeah, work on yourself and not be so afraid of so many things. Yeah, that could have been really good. Yeah. The insecurities, man, like, fuck. But I want to... I still want to send him love anyway. Like, I hope he's doing okay. But I want to mainly send love to my inner child. That's the plan.
Aww.
Sending love to my inner child who's, like, currently really healing at the moment. And figuring it all out and being afraid of being alone. So afraid. Like, I get it bad both ways. Like, I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of commitment. Like, dude. So please, let's bring those together. Let's turn that into a little heart and give that to my inner child. There we go.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you both so much. Please, if you can, talk about whatever you like as far as like promotion, your podcast, yourselves. Please, this is your moment for both of you.
Yeah, thank you for...
Where are you from? Where can they find you?
us on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been really amazing talking about this stuff. We don't get the opportunity enough to talk about this. We normally just talk about sex.
Fucking, that's it.
It's like the safety net for us. And so doing this podcast has been like very exciting and challenging, and like I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
so
glad.
it's been good. Anyway, us.
Yeah, you can find us over on our podcast, which is currently called Fucks Given, but potentially could be called Come Curious sometime soon.
It's better to search for Come Curious, because our
search for
YouTube
Come Curious
channel
anyway.
is Come Curious. It comes up better on...
Yeah, it does. Even the podcast.
And Come Curious spelled COME. Curious.
Yeah. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of those things. You can find our OnlyFans at Florence Curious and Reed Amber X.
Reed Amber X. I'm Reed Amber X on everything.
Yes.
Like
and I'm Florence
Instagram,
Bart
Twitter.
on all of that stuff.
Yeah. So please come check us out. We just do similar stuff, and we just talk about stuff that we shouldn't be talking about. It's perfect, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's the perfect podcast.
Yeah.
It's a perfect podcast.
It's a perfect podcast alongside this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bunch of perfect podcasts just to mingle with each other.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh, one more time for the book.
Oh, yeah. My
yeah.
book, please pre-order it. It's called This Book Will Make You Feel Something. The link's in my bio on my Instagram, if that makes it easier to go pre-order. And yeah, it's out in May.
Yay! Beautiful.
And then thank everybody for listening. And honestly, I think at this point I should be 6 months in. By the time this comes out, 6 or 7 months in, regardless. Just thank everybody for listening and like continuing down like this journey that this podcast has been on. And just listen to us everywhere. Leave a review, leave a comment, share with somebody. This is a space for all of us to learn how to heal, right? There's no right answers. There's just answers and opinions and conversation. So follow us everywhere at Ménage À Mind, MENAGE AMIND, and follow me everywhere at WH_Orlando Roye. Perfect.
Yay!
On the next episode,
Do you think that we should get rid of the title stepfather? It's more built in to the child's life.
She starts yelling about how she doesn't want me in her home.